Hello and welcome to this video on choosing the right bonsai pot for your bonsai. Choosing a pot might be necessary for a bonsai you're repotting, a new bonsai that goes from a training pot to a bonsai pot, or if your current pot happens to break for any number of reasons. Bonsai pots are more than just containers. They are integral to bonsai as an art. You need them to create harmony between the tree and its general environment. It is a vessel that supports the tree's health and growth. Without a pot, you might as well have a tree in the ground. A well-chosen pot will enhance the tree's appearance, making it look much more mature and balanced, while a poor choice can create all sorts of issues. It will detract from the overall composition, and in some cases it can even harm the tree through inadequate drainage, the sizing issues, a lack of soil, it becoming root-bound far too soon. There are all sorts of problems that can happen if you get this wrong. Some of them are obviously purely aesthetic, others are definitely detrimental to your bonsai. For a beginner, focus primarily on functionality first. Ensure your pot meets the tree's basic physiological needs. Not Maslow's hierarchy, thankfully, but you're going to be looking at something like that. And then you're going to begin refining your selection based on aesthetics. But if you can't find something that's aesthetically right, at least choose something that is functionally right. Your key considerations include the size, shape, material, the colour, glaze, drainage, and how the pot complements the tree's style, species, and developmental stage. Patience is kind of essential, as you're going to be repotting every 2 to 5 years to allow for gradual adjustments. First, you have size consideration. The pot's dimensions should, and this is a challenging situation as there's different views on exactly what should be is, create a visual balance and accommodate the tree's root system without restricting growth or causing waterlogging. Overly large pots can lead to root rot. Too small pots may stunt development and require frequent watering and possibly repotting. The general rule, and this is why we are somewhat hesitant to say exactly what you should get, is your pot length or width for round pots should be approximately 2/3 the height of the tree from the soil line to the top of the canopy. For wider trees, example those with a broad crown, base this on the tree's width instead. The pot depth should roughly equal the trunk thickness, just above the surface of the roots of the nabari. This provides stability and gives a proportion that makes the tree appear larger and relatively more established. It does also pose its own slight challenges later on, but we'll get to that in due course. A pot width is typically 70 to 85% of the length, but you can adjust this if the root ball demands more space, and this is one of the big challenges you will face. Some species need more room for their roots to grow. They're voracious feeders. Others are very slow feeders, so you can get away with having a larger pot if needed, but you can go smaller because they don't need repotting so frequently. You can also adjust by tree type. For cascade or semi-cascade styles, use deeper and or taller pots. For example, 2 to 3 times wider than deep. This will accommodate the downward growth and provide some degree of counterbalance. Shallower pots suit deciduous trees like, say, Japanese maples. These encourage lateral root growth, and deeper pots are ideal for species with strong root systems, elms, maples, azaleas, fruiting trees, and so on. This allows for better water retention and stability. This is where things get to be a little bit fussy, let's say. Different species or considerations, different pots. When we look at the developmental stage, use larger training pots, typically plastic, for young or pre-bonsai trees to promote faster development. Only move to a final ceramic pot once the trunk, branches, and nabari are well developed. If the root ball is oversized, prune roots gradually during repotting to fit a proportionally smaller bonsai pot. Here is a very rough, and we'll say rough for a good reason, a basic size guide for common trunk diameters, basically measuring from the point just above the soil to the top of the canopy. So what size pot you have, and since most of our audience seems to be American, we'll give you imperial units, plus the corresponding metric because we're civilized, versus the overall pot size that you would need. You can see that, well, it's fairly straightforward. If you were to plot this on a graph, you'd have a pretty much straight line. This is just the starting point though. Measure your tree accurately and consider its somewhat unique shape. And you do have a unique shape, right? Possibly not, but that's fine. If you do, shape considerations are another question. The pot's shape will influence the overall, we say energy, but perception's probably a better word, and the view of, say, the gender of the bonsais, especially how it's composed. For example, masculine bonsai are often seen as being strong and angular, whereas feminine are soft and more curvy, or curvaceous, depending on how you want to view this. And as a result, your pot should reflect and complement this. If it doesn't complement the tree's form, well, you have problems. If it does, you want to make sure you're not overwhelming it. This is, again, another layer of annoyance, but you need to consider it. Your basic shapes are rectangular and square, and these are suitable, if not ideally suited, to particularly masculine trees with thick trunks, coarse bark, and angular branches. Pines and junipers, for all intents and purposes. If you choose the right pot, it will add visual mass and stability. It helps particularly with masculine species, or at least trees. Oval or round pots are more ideal for feminine trees with slender curving trunks and smooth bark. Maples and beeches are good examples of this. It creates a softer, more light feel. It's not quite as substantial and oppressive as a more masculine tree and pot would be. And of course, there are other variations, which can be used depending on what you have, where you're trying to display it, how you've styled it. Make a choice that's appropriate, whether it's hexagon, octagonal, or similar, but particularly they suit cascades. A drum or lotus are particularly good for androgynous or somewhat unique styles, and wide and shallow or oval pots for forest plantings to mimic landscapes. Obviously, you may find that your particular tree doesn't fit into any of these categories and, you're on your own. Matching your pot to the tree style is another challenge, let's call it. For example, upright formal styles pair well with rectangular pots because it shows strength. Informal uprights or slanting styles work with ovals for flow. Literati or bungeon styles suit flat, round, or matte glazes, and forests need a flat, elongated oval to group multiple trees harmoniously. Feet and stability of pots are another question. Some people will tell you, no feet. Others will say, maybe you want feet. If you are going to use them, and this is a very subjective assessment, you want a feet for stability. Pots with stout, massive feet tend to convey strength and are suitable for robust trees, basically your masculine trees. Delicate or playful feet suggest lightness for more elegant compositions are more suited to feminine trees. And then we have the wall angle. The straight 90-degree walls offer maximum stability. Flared walls add elegance, but they do reduce some of that stability, and they create some other concerns when it comes to repotting. And this is one reason why we absolutely hate mass-produced bonsai pots that are really cheap and nasty. They always have a lip at the top that curves back in, which makes it much harder to remove the root ball when you need to repot. Now we have material composition. Not all bonsai pots are made the same. Some are cheap and nasty, as we've mentioned, but others are made out of very nice light material. And then you have others that are collectible, massive pieces that, yes, they are nice, but yes, they're also an absolute shit to handle. So first of all, breathability. You want something breathable, durable, ideally light, and ideally interacting well with your environment. A very light pot in a very, let's say, variable environment, where you have a swing between heat and cold, or just a normal heat and extreme heat, or normal cold and extreme cold, or won't survive. This is just reality. It will crack, it will break, and you won't have a pot anymore. This is one reason why ceramic or clay pots are the most traditional and versatile. They're fired at a high temperature, and they provide durable and frost-resistant pots. The earthenware is also porous, allowing for both air exchange and, to a certain extent, moisture to, not necessarily soak into the pot, but also not necessarily dry away completely. However, they are fragile in cold climates. The porcelain is fine textured and elegant and often glazed for a smooth finish, but is also, delicate. The plastic is affordable and lightweight and is great for training or beginners. It's good for early development, but it lacks aesthetic appeal and really won't ever be accepted to any exhibit anywhere. And then you have other options such as concrete for stability in large setups. but you want to avoid metals, not just because they can leach toxins, which, to be honest, if you're getting that much exposure to your bonsai, you have bigger issues, but they also cause issues to do with changes to soil composition, which is more of a concern. For example, if you have an aluminium pot, it will acidify the soil. Then you have porosity and climate. Porous, particularly clay, although not always clay, suits hot, dry areas for better evaporation and root health. Non-porous or glazed is better for humid environments where it retains moisture, but you want to ensure frost resistance for outdoor bonsai by choosing low water absorbing ceramics. This is sometimes easier said than done. Then we have weight. Heavy pots provide stability. This is great if you have a top-heavy tree. It's not necessary if you have a lighter tree. If you have a lighter tree, putting into a lighter pot is much better for your back, your shoulders, and not having to curse the builder, maker, manufacturer, designer, whatever you wish to call it, of the pot, and possibly various other entities if you happen to drop it. Then you have colour and glaze colour. Obviously these two pretty much go hand in hand, although not always. The colour and glaze should enhance the tree's features without dominating, considering seasonal changes in foliage, bark, flowers, and fruit. Although fruit's not always the thing. The types are unglazed, which generally comes as an earthy tone, a brown, grey, or red, and this gives is more suitable to, you should say, naturally appearing trees, an aged appearance, and is ideal for conifers as it promotes some of the microbiotic activity and air exchange needed. Glazed pots have glazing, kind of obvious, but they add considerable colour, suiting deciduous or flowering trees. Ideally, it'll be a single glaze for uniform colour, although there are multiple colour forms available. Depending on the kind of bonsai you have, this may work, although multiple glazes are typically more appropriate for flowering trees. A colour selection is, building on that basically. You want something complementary. Opposite on the colour wheel, for example, a red pot for green foliage. This gives you a dynamic contrast. Or you might go for something analogous. For example, take a grey pot for something with grey bark, but just slightly shifted in terms of its colour. This gives a sense of, we can best describe it as calm unity, although that feels kind of pretentious. Whatever you are choosing, you want to try and match subtle tree elements. Earth tones for the bark, cool blue-greens for refreshment, but avoid matching dominant features exactly. If you do that, you can cause clashing issues in terms of perception and aesthetics. For seasonal trees, choose versatile colours like muted greys that work mostly year-round. The surface texture is another thing. Some pots can be very textured. A coarse is good for trees that have a rough bark or a wild appearance, such as deadwood, or just trees that look particularly wild. Smooth is better for refined smooth bark species, or those that have been long trained and styled, and have that appearance of being very much something as a bonsai that has been long cared for. Drainage and functionality is another important thing, although this is something you should look for in any pot you're using for bonsai. You want to ensure that these are there for tree health. Drainage holes should be made up of multiple large holes, and this prevents root rot. Cover with mesh to retain soil, and fill with soil afterwards to allow water to drain out. Avoid pots with inward curving lips, as we mentioned, not only because they're a shit to deal with when you have to repot, but they complicate wiring. Wire the holes, especially around the rim, for securing trees during repotting, and if you can, look for signs of good craftsmanship. This is something that can occur when firing. Smooth holes and consistent walls will give you longevity. Maintenance is done using, just basic cleaning. Wash the pot once you've stopped using it for that particular bonsai, put it aside to dry, and then put it somewhere safe for storage. If you need to, you can repair minor cracks with, say, very, very diluted clay, silicone or similar. Things like that work quite well. As we mentioned, there are some questions about how to match exactly, but in short, you're looking at, say, a tree style, and to a lesser extent species. For example, if you have pines and junipers, you want to use something unglazed and rectangular, with an earthy tone. It also should be able to accommodate the deeper roots for stability. A deciduous tree, for example a maple or elm, has a glazed, oval pot with complementary colours. Also, ensure it has a fairly shallow and, let's say, not as pronounced depth. This allows for the roots to spread out as needed and develop beyond the bari. Tropical and subtropical species need bold colours, and ideally so, but you want to prioritise breathable materials. Otherwise you're going to wind up with problems to do with, mould, rot and moisture buildup. And finally, look at the overall harmony. The pot should try and evoke the tree's spirit. Again, it feels pretentious, but sure. Masculine for rugged trees, feminine for graceful trees. Deviate from the rules for your personal taste or innovation, but starting with these conventions will help you considerably. There are some additional tips, let's say. For example, you can source your pots from your local nurseries, bonsai events, or even potters for custom options. But for beginners, start with affordable plastic, then look at investing in ceramics. And if you're really unlucky, if you buy, let's say, a better established bonsai from someone else, and you don't care for them that well, you may find that you now have a new pot. It's a little morbid, but using them after you've lost the bonsai is always a good idea, and one reason to always hold on to your pots. Common mistakes to avoid are over-potting, ignoring climate, or choosing based solely on the looks without considering health. And finally, for a personal touch, select what you like. Look, everything we've mentioned is going to be subjective. This is just reality. But even if you're not sure, you can start with experimenting through repotting and observing how the tree responds, if you're not sure the pot is suitable. Or you can look at the different pots you have available to you and think, you know what, it may not be quite right according to the rules, but I like how it looks, and the tree's alive, so I will accept this as a bonsai in a bonsai pot. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it interesting, consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. And please do post any comments, questions, or suggestions you have below.